Majesty, Honorable Member for St. Anne's.
Obliged, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, rise on behalf of the members of St. Anne's, I think for the next 5 years, unless somebody's mistaken me to be Clay Sweeting. They'll know that when I rise on behalf of the people of St. Anne's. My name is Adrian White, Madam Speaker, and I represent the people of the great constituent St. Anne's. Madam Speaker, I'm going to start by acknowledging that I don't have any overall objection to the compendium of financial legislative bills by amendment that are before us today, those being the Proceeds of Crime Amendment Bill 2022, Anti-Terrorism Amendment Bill 2022, and the Register of Beneficial Ownership Amendment Bill 2022. I do, however, note, Madam Speaker, and I'm going to look at the provisions, some sections in the Registration of Beneficial Ownership Bill of 2022. Without going into the others, I didn't see any issues with the others. But I'm going to start because the member for Freetown was stating that there was some deficiency in the previous draft, and he pointed to section 12.5, which reads, a designated person, this is of the existing act without amendment, 12.5, a designated person shall provide the results of any search requested under this act within 15 days of the submission of a request for information unless it is notified that the request is urgent, in which case it will provide the information sought of it within 1 hour or such other time period to be agreed between the requesting law enforcement authority or an authority named in subsection 6 and the designated person in accordance with the circumstances of the request. Now, Madam Speaker, I'm standing in the House of Parliament, the House of Assembly, in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Someone tells me that the law enforcement authority is looking for me. Royal Bahamas Police Force is who I think of. I don't think that anybody else in this country would dismiss the Royal Bahamas Police Force as the law enforcement authority in this country. So to say that they weren't allowed to make requests under this act because they weren't specifically identified, Madam Speaker, is unnecessary. Now, I love definitions in legislation. It always helps to understand what is meant by a particular provision, especially when you're trying to figure out if it applies to you, look to the definition to see if there's a way out. And I note, Madam Speaker, in this Register of Beneficial Ownership Amendment Bill 2022, that there is a proposed amendment of Section 2 of the Principal Act, which reads, Section 2 of the Principal Act is amended by the insertion in the appropriate alphabetical order of the definitions. And in brackets, it has the words law enforcement authority, close brackets, includes the Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Bahamas Customs Department, and the Bahamas Immigration Department. So these are the authorities that are seen as being included, but it doesn't, Madam Speaker, the definition doesn't limit it to those. It just identifies them as ones that were included. So you're still going to find persons that are going to ask whether or not this is the extent of the law enforcement authorities that are defined in the further provisions of this act. Madam Speaker, having said that, that was in reply to the member from Freetown and the general contribution to this debate on the Register of Beneficial Ownership Amendment Bill. But as a lawyer with a practice in the Bahamas with US dollar trust accounts, I'm regulated, my law firm's regulated by the Securities Commission, as well now by the Compliance Commission. And the member for Long Island had raised the issue or the importance of considering having a super regulator. Madam Speaker, I would agree with us examining having a super regulator. I understand that it's been tried in the past with the central bank as well as the Securities Commission. But the reason why I would particularly support us looking into a super regulator is because of this need and the ease of doing business, whether it's financial services under the DARE Act, whether it's under our existing financial legislation, whether it's trust companies, whether it's financial institutions. When you're, Madam Speaker, When you're regulated by the Securities Commission, and by the Compliance Commission, you end up finding that a number of the things that one asks of you is also being asked of you by the other. And by way of example, in the month of December, Madam Speaker, particularly when it comes to sanction lists, when in the month of January, Madam Speaker, there was a total of 9, January 22, there was a total of 9 communications that came across my desk from the Securities Commission. In the month of January, also, Madam Speaker, there was a total of 7 requests, communications that came from the Compliance Commission on matters that in many instances overlapped. And to tell you exactly, Madam Speaker, how many instances there were communications from the Securities Commission as well as the Compliance Commission on a sanction notification to deal with Daesh and Al-Qaeda, 29th of December, 2021. That came through on January 7th from the Securities Commission, and that came through from the Compliance Commission on January 5th. So while you're trying to get on with your business, Madam Speaker, and you appreciate that these regulations and these regulators are put in place to protect the industry, it's a little taxing on the institutions when they get one request from one regulator and then essentially the same request from a different regulator 2 days later. This is one country, small archipelago. There needs to be some consideration for this type of exercise to be handled, and so that one report can be accepted by both regulators or, as suggested, a super regulator. Madam Speaker, there was then also a request from both institutions on the same matter again, Madam Speaker. On the 5th of January, the Securities Commission, as well as the 5th of January, the Compliance Commission was writing to inform the United Nations Security Council Committee pursuant to resolutions 1267 and 99 concerning Daesh and Al-Qaeda and associated individual groups and undertakings, removed 5 entries from its sanction list. So in the matter of the same day for the Compliance Commission, they notified us of persons that were on the sanction list. And then they came back saying, there are 5 people that have been removed. And for the Securities Commission, it came 2 days, it came the same day from them as well, Madam Speaker. Now, what this does for a financial institution is it takes your attention immediately, because this is one of your regulators, this is an entity, this is an organization, a body that can shut your business down if you're in breach of any of the notices that you're to react to. In one day, you got a notice that these people were on the sanction list. Please let us know if any of these are your clients. And then the same day, from 2 regulators, you got a notification saying 5 of those entities that we told you about, you don't have to worry about anymore. Now, Madam Speaker, there was, in the month of January alone, there was a 3rd occasion where information from the regulators was identical. And not only the 3rd, finally there was a 4th occasion, Madam Speaker, where the communications were identical. Now, I don't know if it's just because I'm such an honest guy, or that I realize as a spouse with dependents and children in school, as well as persons on the law firm's team that rely on continued employment, that I take these things very seriously. But, Madam Speaker, I know that I take them extremely seriously. I only ask that there be some interagency or interregulatory cooperation. If not, we move to where we have a super regulator for this industry, because right now, as was pointed out, you have to go to different departments, even to get a business license, to get these to get these commission licenses, you have to, securities commission licenses, you have to go to them separately from going through the Inland Revenue Department, from going to the Ministry of Works, from going to the Department of Physical Planning. If we had a super regulator, it would probably take some adjustments to our legislation, but it could make us a more attractive jurisdiction. Madam Speaker, and I would encourage the government to continue to consider that. Madam Speaker, what I saw in the Register of Beneficial Ownership Amendment Bill, which concerned me, I've already said to the House that when these communications come from the regulators, it has my full attention, because there can be penalties that are attached to our responsiveness, and sometimes that responsiveness is dictated to by deliveries from the entities that as registered officers, registered agents, we represent. By the Amendment Bill, Section 3, it reads, Amendment of Section 11 of the Principal Act. Section 11 of the Principal Act is amended in the head note by the insertion immediately after the word date of the words and accurate. That's in Amendment A. And then Amendment B goes on to say, by the insertion of a new subsection 2A as follows. 2A, in brackets, a legal entity shall ensure that any information provided under subsection 1 is accurate. So that's the legal entity, Madam Speaker. That's by definition, that's the company, not the license holder, in this instance, the registered agent. But then that amendment says, by the insertion of a new subsection 2A as follows. I just read 2A, and it's got a 2B. A registered agent or the registered general, as the case may be, shall ensure that any information recorded under subsection 2 is accurate. So this now puts an obligation on the registered agent. Now, that's concerning for me because, as I said, the efforts to get information in to our regulators and update the data entry on record with BOSS is sometimes dependent upon the legal entity itself to provide that information. So I had to look and see what subsection 2 said under the Act. And subsection 2 under the existing Act said, a registered agent shall immediately, on being notified of a legal entity of a change pursuant to subsection 1 or B, otherwise becoming aware of a change of any of the required particulars relating to the beneficial owners or registrable legal entities, cause the updated information provided in subsection 1 to be included in the database. That's the beneficial ownership database known as BOSS. So, Madam Speaker, it looks to me that the registered agent is responsible by this proposed amendment under the Register of Beneficial Ownerships Amendment Bill. The registered agent is responsible to make sure that the information provided and recorded is accurate. So the way I read that when I work this proposed amendment section into the existing legislation is that it's not for the registered agent to go back and verify the information that's been provided to it, but it's their responsibility to make sure that as the information was received, it's reflected on the register. And I don't have any problem with that because that calms me. I can do the work if no one's standing in the way, and I'm sure the other registered agents and entities, financial institutions that have this responsibility can handle that as well. If the client provides you with information, if the legal entity provides you with information, that information, as provided, is what you put on record in an accurate manner as it was received. You don't go looking behind the information that you received because you're responsible for what is provided and that it's accurately reflected on the register. I have a problem, Madam Speaker, with this wording about the amendment, which adds this language about accuracy. The legal entity has to be accurate. The registered agent has to be accurate. And the problem is that the Act currently has, under Section 11, an existing 2A and B, 2A, 2B. And this amendment by Section 3 of the bill says that Section 11 of the Principal Act is amended by the insertion of a new subsection 2A as follows, and it's as I read it before. So my question, Madam Speaker, as it relates to this draft is this amendment proposing to replace the existing 2A and B in the Act? You have, by this amendment, a new subsection 2A, which has a 2A and 2B. So I don't know if this bill needs to be amended so that it can be more clear, or if what this government is doing is to try to have a Section 11 that has a Section 11 subsection 2A and B already, plus a subsection of 11 that is 2A and 2B. I mean, we can, I think, tidy it up. This bill may need to be amended so that it says in this part of 3A, Section 11, 2A and B are repealed and replaced as follows. And if that's the case, those two proposed new subsection 2A and 2B from the amendment would replace the existing 2A and 2B of Section 11 of the Act. Or it could say that by this amendment, by deletion of the existing Section 2A and 2B and the insertion of a new 2A as follows. I don't know what the intent of this amendment is, Madam Speaker, because if we are responsible for ensuring that the recorded information is accurate and also deleting the provision which required for it to be provided into the database, then where are we ensuring it's accurate? Are we ensuring that it's accurate in our files alone? Or are we ensuring that what is filed with the database is accurate? You can't have both as presently drafted. I don't know if there's any member from the government that wishes to clarify it for me in the House, or if this is something that amendment should be proposed to, or this is something that the government would be minded to take into further consideration to review. Because as it is, you're inserting a new subsection 2A and B when you have an existing subsection 2A and B in the Act, but the existing subsection 2A and B in the Act creates the requirement to register in the database, and the new section 2A and 2B requires that the information registered is accurate. It's section 3 of the Register of Benefits Law. Okay. All right, Madam Speaker, if there's more information to come as we go on, then it may resolve itself, and I'll leave it there for now. The final issue that I had with the Register of Beneficial Ownership Amendment Bill is something that had caused me concern and had caused other persons in the industry to be concerned, because you have large financial institutions that maybe, if they're found in breach, can be penalized and handle a $250,000 fine. But a small institution, small boutique law firm like myself, where we're already discounting fees, that can close the business down. I was grateful to see that in Amendment Section 6, they created a new Section 17A, which addressed administrative penalties. And I'm not going to go over all the administrative penalties there now, but it identifies that essentially The regulator can impose a penalty if it writes to the offending institution. It gives the offending institution a period, I think, of over 20 days. I think it's 24 days. And during that 24-day period, the institution can provide information to the regulator to explain the situation. And it comes down to a supervisory authority may not impose an administrative penalty on a person specified in subsection 1 for contravention of any provision of this act if the supervisory authority is satisfied that the person took all reasonable steps to comply with the obligation stated in the act. And then it also, in this new section 17A, which is a good thing, because if the regulatory authorities weren't already encouraged in how to address penalties for persons that are in breach, then they can give consideration, Madam Speaker, to the gravity and duration of the contravention or failure, the degree of responsibility of the person on whom the supervisory authority proposes to impose the administrative penalty. And it will also look at the size, Madam Speaker, of the entity or the employee itself. So it's not that persons in the financial services industry that are recognized as financial institutions have to close up shop now because there could be an automatic $250,000 penalty coming their way. There is reasonableness still under this proposed legislation. So, Madam Speaker, with those comments and with information that may be forthcoming as proceedings go on, and if they are forthcoming, I'll get up again. I'm going to begin to wrap up now. Madam Speaker, I want to recognize the recent passing in my constituency of Mrs. Romalia Demerit. Mrs. Romalia Demerit passed away roughly 2 weeks ago. She was a resident of Step Street, a matriarch of an estate property there, and I appreciate that her daughter, Mrs. Curry, brought it to my attention. It's a great community there on Step Street, and many of the young men that are descendants of hers are in the auto body business, are industrious young guys, and I know that they'll feel the loss of their mother. She lived in the home that was closest to the street, and I remember seeing her in recent years as I would be in that part of the constituency. Madam Speaker, as we've talked about the financial services legislation affecting the financial services industry, I want to give special attention to Ms. Cheryl Knowles Adderley, who is a straw craft maker, bag maker from Millerton, Long Island. That's down north in Long Island. No, it's down.
We brought it down.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah,
Up to you. We brought it down.
I agree with Fox Hill on this one occasion today.
We brought it down.
Yeah, it's down north, down north,
Say down north. Say Fox Hill doesn't run to Long Island.
down north and up south.
Come on, down north and up south. That's what we know.
But Madam Speaker, as important as our financial services industry, we also have our Bahamian Strawcraft and designer artisan industry. And Mrs. Cheryl Knowles Adderley from Cheryl's Creations sent me a package because I paid a visit to her establishment when I was down for a funeral for Mr. Roxbury, along with the Member of Parliament from Long Island in February, Madam Speaker. And this is the beautiful craftsmanship that she provided for me, Madam Speaker. In a one night, 2-day trip to Long Island, I jumped into the depths of Dean's Blue Hole. I sat upon the Tropic of Cancer, and I engaged the services of one of Bahamas' finest craftswomen, and this is the end result of that, Madam Speaker. And I'm very, very impressed with it because we know how industrious the people of Long Island are. And we know, Madam Speaker, that the best mutton comes from Long Island.
Keep going, Mike. Keep going, Mike.
So, Madam Speaker, every day that I'm in this, honorable House of Assembly from this day forth, I'm gonna bring my beautiful Long Island Bahamian handcrafted bag.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
It has my name on the front, Honorable Adrian R. White, MP, and it's got Cheryl Adderley's tag on the bag as well.
You should have gotten one for the member for long. That's
my cousin, but I ain't gonna worry about that.
And Madam Speaker, what you'll find out is that as I leave this house every day, there is enough space in this bag for me to fit all of my belongings. I'm going to demonstrate that right now, Madam Speaker. But I'm not leaving yet, Madam Speaker. I can even put my laptop computer in this bag, Madam Speaker. And to show you how effective it is, Madam Speaker, it's got plenty of space inside the bag to fit everything I need. It can get my computer, and it can hold all of my papers, Madam Speaker. So this is, Madam Speaker, a testament to my pride in our great country, and my testament to the handicraft, the industry that we have here in our people. I'm extremely proud of our country, Madam Speaker. We did an incredible job with the recent royal visit, led by the government. I saw our protocol officer, or one of the protocol officers, Terry Archer, and his team, just were exceptional. I think all of the arrangements were there. Our leader was able to make the event at the Memorial Garden. The dock that they left for the Royal Regatta, that's St. Anne's property. I'll share that bit of information with my constituent from West Grand Bahama and Bimini. And I was fortunate everybody votes for me, man. I was fortunate because the Minister of Agriculture was there, as well as the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Tourism, Senator Rolle, and also the member for Carmichael. And if they didn't agree to allow me to stand with them just because I was the MP for the area, I told them that I was truthfully representing the leader of the opposition, and I was able to shake the hand of William, Prince William, and as well as Duchess Catherine. And I attended the gala event later on at Bahamar, and I did want to push my way in to get a photograph with the future king. But my son was with me, and my son ended up getting a great photograph. So I think all in all, everybody that came out to the events enjoyed them. And we did an exceptional job, Madam Speaker. There's been so many highlights so far in these first 6 months, and that'll probably remain a highlight for the next 5 years, 4.5. Madam Speaker, without anything further to add, except the great news, who knows Concolay, the guy that goes around trying to promote cleanliness in the Bahamas, bringing attention to waste where it's building up in our residential communities. Concolay and Mr. Penniman were located earlier today. I know that a lot of Bahamians were concerned about that. And that's more good news for our nation. I look forward to hearing any reply to those proposed amendment issues that I saw. And I'm grateful to you, Madam Speaker, to my party leader, and the great constituents of St. Anne's. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. As many?